the Jazz Image, Minnesota Public Radio, and we're looking to April 8th, Saturday, 7:30 p.m., Hopkins Center for the Arts, just west of Minneapolis. Jazz pianist, artistic director, multifaceted Dick Hyman, who created and directed Woody Allen's music and soundtrack for Sweet and Low, is on the line, and he'll be the guest of the Hopkins Center for the Arts on April 8th. Once again, good to talk with you.
Thank you, Leigh. I'm glad to be here to talk over matters of jazz and music in general.
There is, in my mind, some of your experiences and scenes. If I named a series of pubs in the land of jazz, those smoky environments, Wells Music Bar, A Vision. We weren't there.
Yeah. Wells Music Bar was the first it's not quite fair to say big time, but it was the first club I played in New York City. And I did it immediately on graduating from Columbia in New York. It was a small lounge in Harlem, and I played piano there for some months, and then a return engagement besides. I played opposite an organist who has since passed on, named Charlie Stewart. He was the first Hammond organist I had heard, first guy who could swing on a Hammond organ. I learned a lot from him because after that I began to play the organ as well. Wells was a wonderful place to be setting out, and they also had great sweet potato pie.
I remember that.
Do you?
Yes, because I used to work a little farther down at 125th Street under the Palm. The Palm
right.
At 125th Street and 7th, broadcasting there.
Right.
Now, there's a Vision in complete contrast, Cafe Society. Was it uptown or downtown for you?
No, the one I worked with was downtown in Greenwich Village, and I was part of Tony Scott's quartet.
The clarinetist.
Yeah, he was he still is, a fine clarinetist. He put together a group which played for dancing and accompanied the floor shows, who varied from Zero Mostel, Josh White, Art Tatum. Of course, Tatum needed no accompaniment, but the other acts did. I can think of another two. A comedian named Jane Dulo, a comedian named Jack Guilford,
yes.
Another fellow out of the past named Lord Buckley.
Oh, a legendary
Yes.
figure.
All of these people came in and out of Cafe Society, and we played their music if they needed any. For me, the great thrill, of course, was when Art Tatum was the guest. There was no preparation needed for him. He just rolled the piano out on the floor, and we'd all sit around and gasp as he played. That was unforgettable for me.
Let's pause for a moment on the subject of Art Tatum. There you were, observing him. Were you able to, create a dialogue that stimulated the development of your piano work?
Well, I can't say that we had any kind of discussions, but he was an amiable kind of guy. He greeted me. I didn't study with him in any sense, except just to be deeply impressed by the possibilities that were there in a keyboard, which I had just vacated a few minutes before. He took charge of that keyboard in an unbelievable manner. Tatum, to me, still is the great pianist of jazz. There are very few people who approach him and his technique and his understanding of the way things work in jazz harmony and jazz time. And I don't think anybody has equaled him.
Dick Hyman is our guest. He arrives Saturday, April 8th at the Hopkins Center for the Arts. Just two other scenes that you might just capsulize on. Bop City, that was certainly one of the legends of New York.
Yeah. Bop City was a place that I believe I played with Red Norvo there in another band, which included Tony Scott, and we were playing opposite, or you might say as an opening act, I suppose, for Duke Ellington. And that was another experience. To see that band live was pretty incredible. At that time, also, we're talking about about 1950. The Ellington band was in one of its great phases then, and we had the opportunity of playing our little set and then hearing that band. One of the great things you do when you play on a circuit with other musicians is you get to mingle, you get to understand what everybody else is up to, and you get to know the other people. I was privileged to be able to do that for a little bit.
It helps to build the network and the literature and
well,
experience.
Sure. It's just a learning experience, both to some extent socially, but to a great extent just learning the possibilities of the music educationally.
One other scene, Birdland, the jazz corner of the world.
Well, with Birdland, I was part of Max Kaminsky's Dixielanders on the opening night, which was New Year's Eve of 1949, I think. That is 48 to 49. And that was, the idea was to present the gamut of jazz, starting with Dixieland and going up through Charlie Parker, who was in his heyday right at that point. So we opened the program playing jazz as it has been. Parker closed it, showing jazz as it was coming to be. And in between there were such people as a man who was billed then as that new young singer, Harry Belafonte.
Oh, yes.
And Stan Getz, Hot Lips Page, and some other legends. But I certainly enjoyed that time. And shortly after that, after we finished with Max Kaminsky, I was invited back to play with Lester Young's quartet. And Lester, although he was possibly not playing with the energy that he had, say, 10 years before, he was not well, was nevertheless still playing very creatively and very interestingly. And this is one of those jobs that you look forward to coming to work on. It's not really work. What we do is play. It's not work.
Thank you, Dick Hyman. And we look to your program on 7:30 p.m. That's the time frame, Saturday, April 8th. The Hopkins Center for the Arts, just west of Minneapolis. And once again, it's a pleasure. Thanks very much for giving us snapshots of your experience at Wells, Cafe Society, Bop City, and Birdland.
Thank you, Leigh. It's a pleasure.